Welcome to Blue Talks.
It is fantastic to be here at the University of Alberta. I'm very excited to share something incredibly powerful with you today. I want to talk about the ultimate success formula, what it is, how it works, and why it fails. And there's a lot of pieces around the ultimate success formula for you to learn from. And the number one thing you need is you need a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal. Now, if you don't know what a big, hairy, audacious goal is, it comes from Jim Collins, the author of Good to Great and Built to Last. And a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal, is something that is huge. It's something you absolutely want, and it's outside of your potential right now. It's more than you could do right now. You're going to need to grow to do it. It's going to challenge you. Once you have a big, hairy, audacious goal, a BHAG, then you can move forward into the success formula. Now, I'm going to take you back to 2010. I was training for Ironman, and I met a gentleman who told me about Ultraman. And I was like, what in the heck is that? And it is a 10-kilometer swim, followed by a 145-kilometer bike ride on day one. Day two is a 275-kilometer bike ride. And day three is an 84.4-kilometer double marathon. And I was like, holy cow, I don't know if I can swim 10 kilometers. I know I can do the bike part, but a double marathon, are you kidding me right now? I've never run past a full marathon. It scared the bejeebers out of me, and I thought, I just want to try this. And that was my big, hairy, audacious goal. So I set myself with that intention. Now, when we apply the ultimate success formula, step one is you have to take action. That is the first step. You need to take action on your goal. Now, that stops a lot of people right there because they're afraid. There's a big fear of failure. Well, what if I do take action on this goal and I fail? Oh, that would suck so badly. So they don't even take that action. They hold back and they get into procrastination. Well, I'll wait till I'm a little bit better and I'm not ready yet. I'm going to think about it a little bit longer, and they don't start. Or they get into the position where they have a lack of clarity, where I'm not 100% clear on what the goal, I don't know how to start. Where do I begin? And they just hold. They don't take action because they don't have clarity yet. Some people, they just sit with perfection, where I won't start until it's perfect. I'll wait until my life is perfect. I won't start until my kids are through school. I won't start until they're through graduation. I won't start until they're married. I won't start until, not until it's perfect. And some people, they feel like they have no motivation, which could be one of two things. One, you're not actually connected to that big, hairy, audacious goal. It actually doesn't really speak to you. You thought it was maybe a good idea, or it's where you should go. The other problem with motivation is people sit on the couch and wait for motivation to happen. And that's not really how motivation works. Motivation starts once you take action, and then you feel motivated, and you take more action. So motivation is often not the first ingredient, but the second one. Again, we get back to action. Lack of support can be another problem. If you want to do something really great, but your spouse is not in favor, that's way harder. If your family's not in support, if your work doesn't support what you need to do, right? Maybe you need to come in like a half hour later in the day because you have to do something in the morning. Those can all be a barrier. And fear of success is a huge hidden one. That was a big one for me. I didn't feel like I deserved success or that I was worthy of success, and I was afraid to succeed. And that has hit me many times. So a popular piece on the world is ready, aim, fire. We know this to be true, right? Ready, aim, fire. We've heard this a lot. But if we look at it, in a lot of people, what happens is, okay, they get ready, and then I'm going to aim, but I just need to get ready a little bit more. Okay, I'm ready, and then I'm going to aim, but I'm not quite ready, and then okay, I'm going to aim, and then I'm not quite ready. Just give me a second. I do one more thing first, and then okay, I'm going to aim. And then, but I want to adjust the goal just a little, and then I'm going to aim, not quite, and then, okay, I'm going to get ready. This time I'm going to go for it, and I'm almost ready. I got to do one more thing, and then I'm going to get ready. Just stop already, okay? You can't do that. You need to take action. You need to start moving. And what I like better as a saying is ready, fire, aim. Just take some action and correct as you start moving. For me, when I signed up for Ultraman Canada 2011, that was my first step. Sign up, pay the entry fee. That scared the crap out of me. Then I had to tell my coach, hey, I know we've been doing Ironmans for 5 years, but I want to do Ultraman. And he's like, well, I've never coached anybody at Ultraman before, but I know some people that have done it, so I think we can put this together. And then I started training. And that's how I moved into that piece of my life in the success formula. Now, the next piece is you're going to get some feedback. So in the ultimate success formula, you take some action, you're going to get feedback. That's just going to happen. Now that stops people too, because a lot of times the feedback is not quite what they thought was going to happen. And their feedback hits where they have a fixed mindset in the sense that people think, this is all I got. I took my action. That's the only thing I can do. It just is what it is and it didn't work. So I guess it's over, right? That stops some people. Some people, they take the feedback personally, like as if it's an attack against their personality or there's something wrong with them, and they take the feedback personally. And it's just feedback. But that leads some people to get emotional. They're very upset by the feedback. They don't like the feedback. It could be that you started a new nutrition plan and the feedback was you hated it. That could be true, okay? For a lot of people, they get into the problem of the fact that their goal is harder than they planned. They thought, I'm going to take this action. I got this big goal. I'm going to breeze through it. And then they realize, holy crap, this is way harder than I thought. I bumped into that a lot with my first time at Ultraman. It was harder than I thought it was going to be. And a lot of people are stuck by fear of change. There's a lot of speakers talking on the Blue Talk stage. And sometimes what holds you back is that fear that if I become a successful speaker, I'm going to have to travel a lot and I hate flying. That could be a real problem and it's going to hold you back. And a lot of people deny the feedback. They don't listen to the feedback, like whatever, they don't even listen to it. So they don't get to the next step of the ultimate success formula. And another one is feedback fatigue. You're just sick and tired of hearing that it didn't work. Yeah, I know, I took some action, didn't work. I don't want to hear about it anymore. That can be another issue that holds people back from the formula. So the third part in the ultimate success formula is correction. You took some action, you got some feedback. Now you need to analyze that and make a correction. And then, and this is critical, you need to take more action. Again, we find that people stop at correction. Some people fear repeated failure. They're like, well, I took some action. That was the best I could do. The feedback said it didn't work. What correction can I make? I'm just going to fail again. And so people don't take action. They stall in the formula. Another thing that happens to people is their confidence is gone. They're shattered. They put their best foot forward. They really gave it a good try. It didn't work, and their confidence is shattered. Or they're feeling that analysis paralysis where they're looking at the feedback to the deepest degree and they're paralyzed. They don't know how to move forward because they're stuck looking at everything too long, or they're super emotional. Got really emotional. It hurt. It crushed them. That they tried so hard, the feedback was negative, and they don't want to make a correction because they're very emotional. Another one is that people get just tired and impatient. I coach people on nutrition, and the number of people that they're like, well, I had a healthy meal and I did a workout and I stepped on the scale and it hasn't changed. Well, give it a second. It's going to take more than a day. We need to give a little patience and time for things to happen. But people these days seem to want things very fast. Another one is that realizing, as I said before, that it's too hard. This is really too hard. I don't think I'm going to make a correction. I'm not going to carry on, and the formula fails. And missing the feedback is a big one. I'd spent a lot of time missing the feedback. I took action, and the feedback, I didn't see it. I wasn't aware of it. And I'm going to get back to that later. So when we look at action, feedback, correction, one of my favorite examples of this is Hollywood. Hollywood does action, feedback, correction a lot. Does anybody remember the movie The Social Network? The story of the building of Facebook. I love that movie for a lot of reasons, but one, in the opening scene, the character playing Mark Zuckerberg, Jesse, does with his partner, Rooney, they do an 8 8-minute scene that's just under 1,000 words. And if you've watched the film, he speaks very quickly, it's very dynamic, it's very powerful, it's in a noisy bar. So this is Hollywood. Okay, action. They do the scene, cut. Listen, I want you to lean in a little more. I want you to say this like that. I want you to do this. That's the feedback. Okay, what I want you to do instead, this is the correction. Then they say action, and they start again. They had to do that scene 99 times. Action, feedback, correction. Can you imagine an 8-minute scene, 1,000 words long, 99 times? That's incredible. And the movie that my mom was scared to death with was The Shining. And there's a scene where Jack Nicholson plays the caretaker, and he takes an axe and he breaks through a door to scare the bejeebers out of the lady that he's trying to get. And he's got to smash a full hatchet or full axe through a real door. They filmed that 127 times. Can you imagine? Action. He's banging out the door and she's screaming, wah! She's got to be real about it. And then like, cut. Okay, you know what? They didn't splinter right. Okay, new door, put the number 3 on it. Okay, try again. 127 times. You'd be so tired of swinging that stupid axe. But it's action, feedback, correction. That's Hollywood. And what I love about what we can learn from Hollywood is they use that clapper to mark the scene and try again. And they just call it a mistake. It's just a mistake. Who cares? They do it over and over again. How many people do you know in life have a mistake and they're just done? We don't need to be. It's just a mistake. Try another one. Another version of this that I love is in the movie Jaws. Now Jaws, I remember watching Jaws by sneaking into the living room when I was a little kid. I think I was 8 years old. And there was a spot where I could sneak behind the wall and the chair, and my mom on the couch couldn't see me. And I watched Jaws on the side angle of the TV screen, and I wouldn't go into the lake for a year after that. Scared the crap out of me. Now, what you might not know about Jaws is Steven Spielberg took some action. We're going to make the world's largest animatronic shark. It's going to be huge. It's going to be the first time we've ever done anything this big. It's going to be amazing. And they built this great big animatronic shark. But the problem was, every time the shark got wet, it absorbed all the seawater and sunk to the bottom. And it was too heavy for the mechanics to work. So they had to crane the thing out, dry it off for a couple days, try to figure something else out, try again. It sunk to the bottom of the ocean, and they did that over and over again. They were supposed to take 55 days to shoot. It took 159 days. Steven Spielberg almost got fired because all day on the set, the shark is not working, the shark is not working. So they had to adjust the movie. If you've seen Jaws, you know the greatest part about Jaws, we never saw the shark for the first 3/4 of the movie. They showed shadowy water and played that creepy theme. And it made the movie better because our imagination went wild. They showed seaweed and a dark little shadow, which was a canoe painted gray that they drifted by. So they adapted the movie, and they all seemed to do pretty well from this action, feedback, correction. Multiple awards. The Shining was one of the greatest horror films. Jaws won all kinds of stuff because of their action, feedback, correction. It became massive. Now, there's another version of action, feedback, correction, and that's action, feedback, continue. Because if your feedback is good, great, continue. Take more action, your feedback's good, continue. This is the ultimate success formula. And if I look at it in my Ultraman element, when I did the 2011 Ultraman Canada Championships, I had the race of my life. In a race that was 27 hours and 36 minutes long, I was 6th overall and 20 minutes from 2nd place. I didn't know if I could finish a double marathon. I did it in 9 hours and 6 minutes, and I thought, this is my jam. Action, feedback, continue. So I signed up for the World Championships. And I went to the World Championships in Kona, Hawaii. And it was amazing, but it was really hard. I threw up for 3 hours on the 10-kilometer open ocean swim. Talk about some feedback. And at one point, I would just go over to the safety kayak, hang on, and yell at the ocean. There was nothing left to throw up. So I get into transition, and I'm 2 hours late, and my crew was like, what is going on? So their feedback is like, Scotty's half dead, we gotta feed him. Because I still had a 145K bike ride that included a 7,000-foot climb up to Volcano National Park in a tropical storm. Thanks for that. And I remember going up this mountainside, and my crew chief, my best friend Darren, came up to me, and I was looking at my watch, and he said, do you need anything? Because that's our rule. You're not allowed to ask how I feel. That's irrelevant. do you need anything to get to your BHAG? And I said, no, I'm good. But he said, you need to find another gear. And I did. And I made it. I finished day 1, which led me to day 2, day 3, and I finished 21st in the world. It was very exciting. And again, great feedback. And I thought, okay, I'm going back to 2015, to the next version. And I hired a new coach, an amazing coach, and I wanted to be top 5. And that race didn't quite go to plan, because as I was going down a mountainside in the rain, apparently there was algae on the bridge deck, and I almost died. My wheel slid out. I broke my arm in 3 pieces. I shattered my shoulder. I split my face open. I busted up my knee. I tore my MCL, whiplash, and I broke my skull open, exposing my brain, giving me one of the worst brain injuries you can get. According to the medical textbooks, I should have been a vegetable. So I'm very fortunate to be standing here speaking to you. That feedback was something else. And if we look at action, feedback, correction, I had to learn from that. Well, why did I crash? Nobody else crashed. Why did I crash? How come there are so many times in my life when I'm about to succeed and then something out of the blue happens? What's going on here? But I had a new BHAG, a new big, hairy, audacious goal. And I knew within moments of waking up in the brain trauma unit in intensive care that I wanted to get back to the World Championships again. And so we headed back. And I had to learn and learn and learn. I talked to specialists. I went to a brain specialist in Germany and learned that one of the challenges I had was stuff I was carrying around from childhood where I didn't believe I was deserving and worthy of being successful. And I kept shortcutting and pulling the rug out from my own feet. So when I figured this out, I became free to race, not because I was trying to teach my family that I was good enough or teach myself that I was worthy. I was able to succeed because I loved racing. Because the biggest piece of action, feedback, correction, the middle part, is never give up. If you take some action and you listen to the feedback and you make a correction or you continue and you never give up, it is impossible to fail. You just need time. You cannot fail. And I did make it back to the World Championships in 2018. My team and I, because it is a team sport, we crossed the finish line. I was 25th in the world. There was volcano problems in Kona that year, so they had to change the bike course. So instead of 7,000 vertical feet climb, it was 14,000 vertical climb. That's halfway up Everest on a bicycle in 30-degree heat. It was a thing. Action, feedback, correction, never give up. And we made a movie, which is an award-winning feature-length documentary. You can watch it. It's free on YouTube. I hope you check it out. And I hope that when you find your big, hairy, audacious goal, the one that freaks you out a little bit, that you take some action, listen to your feedback, make a correction, and never give up. Thank you very much.